If you've ever wanted to carry around a 40-inch flat-screen TV in your pockets, now's your chance. This is the ultra-rugged Tank 3 Pro smartphone with a built-in DLP projector, which we'll try out today. It's also got a 23,000 mAh battery that's 6 times larger than an iPhone's battery, along with a 1200 lumen flashlight, an IR blaster, and a plethora of other interesting little tidbits, which tracks since this phone is the size of a suitcase. If there ever was a perfect phone for the digital off-grid nomad, this is it. And let's be honest, if things keep going how they're going, we're all going to be nomads here pretty soon. So let's see if this $700 Tank Pro 3 is all it's cracked up to be. The sheer girth of this thing is like holding an actual brick, or 3 regular smartphones stacked on top of each other. But I'm incredibly interested in this projector at the top. When Apple invents one of these things, people are going to lose their minds. I noticed there is a large LED flashlight on the back, but when I go into settings on the Tank Pro 3 and turn on the flashlight, it only activates the camera flash, which is strange. Turns out there is a dedicated button on the side that activates the main 1200 lumen LED, which, flashing light warning, also has a strobe mode. Pretty lit. The flashing lights are over now. There's also a night vision camera on this thing, which we'll get to in a second. It's like a portly Swiss Army knife of a smartphone. And you might think that on an ultra-rugged phone, there might be a permanent built-in plastic layer to the screen, like we saw in the old-school Samsung Active series from 8 years ago. But nope, the Tank Pro 3 does have a temporary screen protector, but the surface itself is glass, and that gets scratched at level 6, with deeper grooves at a level 7. Very normal so far. There is a slim earpiece speaker grill above the hole punch camera. It's made from metal and seems to be very secure. It won't be falling out on its own. The hole punch camera is a 50 megapixel little guy and is protected by glass. Now, the ultra-rugged class of smartphone usually has a built-in protective housing, and this Tank Pro 3 is no different, with the metal side rails surrounded by thick, durable rubber. There's a scratchable fingerprint scanning power button, and interestingly enough, a full-on internal cooling fan system that rivals the Red Magic series of gaming phones. Projector LEDs get hot real quick and need a whole lot of cooling, although I'm not sure how Unihertz has managed to maintain the IP68 water resistance rating while having that internal active cooling system, but we'll find out here soon enough when we get access to the inside. There's an IR blaster up at the top. Turning on the projector for the very first time on my very brightly lit desktop, at first the image appears a tad washed out. There is a rotatable knob on the side to help focus the image, but if we turn my studio lights off, that's when things start looking surprisingly good. Unihertz doesn't come right out and say what resolution the projector is projecting at, so it is anyone's guess, but being able to bust out a 40-inch TV in a dark room on a moment's notice out of your pocket is arguably one of the coolest features any phone has ever had, ever. Especially if you're traveling, like I was when we built the library in Kenya. Speaking of traveling, I'll let you analyze the projector picture quality while I tell you about the Surfshark VPN, which lets you watch region-restricted videos while traveling, and who's the sponsor of today's video. Surfshark is an awesome app for people who want to safeguard their data and privacy online. A VPN, or virtual private network, is able to encrypt all of your online activity. And better yet, one Surfshark account can be used on an unlimited amount of devices. Whether you want to watch videos that aren't available in your country, avoid price discriminations, or just don't want to be tracked, Surfshark has over 3,200 servers in more than 100 countries, so you can digitally be wherever you want, with no logs and 24/7 customer support. Plus, when you use the link in the description, or this QR code if you can scan it from the projector, you can get 4 months worth of Surfshark for free. To be fair, my desk may be too bright, so I'll leave the QR code again here on the phone. There's a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee if you don't like it. If you're wanting to be off-grid physically, you might as well be off-grid digitally, and it's only a few bucks a month. Surfshark.com/JerryRig. The exterior projector lens is protected with glass. That's a good thing. The left side of the phone has our projector focusing dial, as well as our volume buttons, and 2 custom buttons, one of which turns on the camping light. And would you look at this? An incredibly long SIM card tray that holds not just one SIM card, or 2 SIM cards, but also a micro SD card slot. Can you imagine the utopia we'd be living in if companies stopped copying Apple? At the bottom of the Tank 3 Pro, we have a watertight flap, a 120-watt USB-C port, and holy mackerel, a headphone jack. Someone asked, what should we put in the smartphone? And Unihertz said yes. It is the size of Texas, yeah, minor detail, but it does have everything. The back panel is made from a silver brushed aluminum, accenting the large amounts of black rubber on each of the corners. We might need to bring back cargo pants and a forklift if you want to haul this thing around, but it's still cool seeing something built so different. There are 4 cameras on the back. The top left is a whopping 200 megapixel main camera. The top right is a 50 megapixel wide angle. Lower left is an 8 megapixel telephoto. And my favorite camera is the 64 megapixel night vision camera on the lower right. You'll notice the 4 infrared diodes right next to the camera. These infrared lights are not visible with our feeble human eyeballs, but are visible to the camera sensor in the phone, which can then see the black and white objects illuminated by the IR lights and displays that image on our screen, similar to the IR detectors in some of NASA's space telescopes, like the Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope, which can see things our eyes can't. The new telescope has 100 times larger image capturing capabilities than Hubble. It's mostly already built and would have launched next year in 2026, but thanks to the new guy up top, it's all about to get defunded. Effin' chat for science. Where was I? Oh yeah. For a phone that has everything but the kitchen sink, you might think that the 120Hz 6.8-inch display would be OLED. But it turns out, the temporary venom-like black mark appearing after 13 seconds shows that it's an LCD screen, which is totally fine. The average person probably doesn't know the difference anyway, and it's probably not the most urgent variable during an apocalyptic scenario, like the one that this phone was built to survive. To be honest, I do wish I was strong enough to snap this thing in half, but short of being Hercules, Superman, or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, this phone is going to survive everything but a direct hit from an asteroid. However, as Julius Caesar once said, divide and conquer. It's time to start separating the individual parts from each other, so we can get a look at what that projector does on the inside, as well as the active cooling system and simultaneous waterproofing that has me skeptical. The side rails are their own individual replaceable pieces, along with individually milled buttons. There are 12 more T4 screws surrounding the thick rubber back panel. With the side rails gone and the screws removed, I can ever so aggressively separate the back panel from the frame, revealing an extremely large red rubber band acting like a waterproofing gasket for the Tank 3 Pro. The only other time we've seen waterproofing this intense was in an underwater diving drone that could submerge itself 30 meters underwater. So I'm guessing that this Tank 3 Pro can survive much deeper water than its IP68 advertising is suggesting, so thumbs up for that. Switching to a Phillips head screwdriver, I can remove the screws holding on the black plastics at the top and bottom of the phone. The night vision infrared diodes remain on the black plastics as it's removed. The 1200 lumen camping flashlight has its own Lego style ribbon connector. I'll pop that off and set it next to the waterproofing rubber band. I'll also unplug more of the long extension ribbons that traverse the length of the battery. There's a few more ribbons located around the exterior of the motherboard. Looking at the 50 megapixel wide-angle camera, we can see there is no OIS. And as we explore the other 3 camera sensors, we find the same thing. No optical image stabilization to be found anywhere. Kinda wild. Personally, I feel like optical image stabilization is one of the most essential things a smartphone can have, besides a 40-inch projector obviously. With the motherboard lifted out, we get our first look at the passive end of the cooling system. Dual copper vapor chambers that snake underneath the battery. I'll pull the black padded sticker off the battery ribbons and remove the lower loudspeaker. There are no balls to be found, but it's also big enough that the speaker probably doesn't need them. Then the battery, or batteries I should say, can pull out of the phone with the large metal midframe. Remember, Unihertz advertises 23,800 mAh worth of capacity on this thing, but the battery on this side only has 11,377 mAh, which leaves us about 1,000 mAh short of the advertised number. I can only assume that the cell on the other side of the midframe is slightly larger, but I really don't feel like exploding today, so I'm going to leave it intact and attached, since there are no magic pull tabs. Finally, we see the backside of the ultra-small projector and the massive active cooling system attached to it. With another 6 Phillips head screws removed, we can finally see how Unihertz has waterproofed their internal cooling fans. Red Magic should take note of this for the Red Magic 11. It's another red rubber gasket surrounding the entire enclosure. The fan will still get submerged obviously, but propellers do go underwater all the time. It's wild that the active cooling system is larger than the projector module itself. There's at least 30 pennies worth of copper in this thing, along with cooling fins attached so that the fan can keep the light diodes cool as they're projecting the video images. The fan looks to be the same turbo-style fan that we see in other really tiny devices. The focusing screw on the side is attached to a worm gear and the worm wheel, which moves the lens on the projector forward and backwards. In my opinion, I still think we need to get a deeper look. Leave a comment if you think we should keep going. Thanks for that. I'll keep digging. There's a few more screws around the outside of the projector, keeping the cooling system in place. Even the fins are cleverly designed to allow a screwdriver to pass through to reach that last remaining screw head. Super smart. With the cooling system detached, this thing is small enough to be worn as a wristwatch. Can you imagine wearing a projection watch like Iron Man? The technology is so close, it'll be super fun when Samsung starts catching up. Now, flipping up the ribbon attached to the projector housing, we see a series of diodes. 2 that are visible now, and another that'll be visible in a second. You can see the gear on the side here that the exterior focus knob moves forward and backwards. We can also pop off what I assume is the DLP image generator. You can see here that the ultra bright LEDs are on one ribbon and the image generator was attached on the other side, all connected through a series of prisms. The LEDs shine through these prisms and mirrors before reaching that DLP chip, which creates the image and then throws it out the top lens of the phone onto the wall. Pretty epically awesome, and I'm glad Unihertz is out here still dabbling in the cool, quirky technical stuff, which hopefully wakes up Apple and Samsung again from their incredibly boring slumbers. Get 4 months of the Surfshark VPN for free with the link in the description, and thanks a ton for watching. I'll see you around.